We've been talking about regional integration, but many are asking, what do you mean when you talk about bomb and regional integration? Now, let me just to take you through it. When you think about it, think about the plumbing system that makes this possible. You know, Kenya Pipeline is telling you that because of its vast state-of-the-art pipeline that they have set down to transport fuel from the port of Mombasa to the lakeside city of Kisumu all the way to Uganda, that brings two economies together because they depend on a single product that is very critical in pushing this economy. So Kenya Power, with its engineers and managing and manning over 1,700 kilometers of pipe that is pushing petroleum products, they're telling you they're able to push your this product in a reliable manner, in a safe manner, and also in a way that will get to you and assure you that what you're getting is that which the governments have assured meets quality and meet the standards there are. So beyond just pushing the economy, they're also investing back into the community by taking children to school. Education is critical, and these children come back and plug into the economy and continues pushing. So think about the cyclical nature of what it is they are doing and also giving back to the community. So to find out more on what KPC does and how they're ensuring that these economies do move and integration does happen, you go to www.kpc.co.ke, because Kenya Pipeline is telling you, bomba letu, ukuaji wetu.
Kabisa. All right, so we get into our conversations in just a while. We'll be with Senator Nyutu in a bit, but then also just looking into Okla before that that conversation is able to start for us, is that there are just so many moving parts to this thing, and something that should seem so clear, unfortunately for a lot of people, is not. That there's a lot of political innuendo. We expect that to be the case, and there's a lot of threats and hurling insults back and forth, that there is a lot of violence that has already been meted on certain people. And then to just ask ourselves the question in terms of, so what exactly do we expect to happen then moving forward? Does Thursday look like that day where people are going to, right now, we can actually call it, does Thursday look like that day when we're going to go in, people are going to vote, and at the end of the day, we'll get a solution? That's the question.
I mean, one would expect that with a by-election, because we've had by-elections before, where individuals wake up early in the morning, go and ensure that they select their legislators and they go back home. But what we're seeing now, especially with what we've been treated to, where it is violence, where it is insults, where it is bribery, there is intimidation, absence of security, and then you look at all of a sudden even threats of the elections being cancelled because of how people are behaving in the campaign period. Where is the fairness? Where is the constitution? Where is the law towards the Thursday event?
Indeed.
Towards the Thursday casting of the vote, where we're seeing 1,000 officers being sent to do what exactly?
It's the question that we're asking this morning, and there's some things that we just want to then be able to get a clear up about. Joining us on the line this morning is the governor for Murang'a County, and that's Irungo Kangata, and then to be able to go over a number of things and to just hear from his position. Governor, a very good morning to you.
Press 7.
Okay, perhaps we need to see if we can get him back actually on the line, if he is, just to confirm that he's there. All right, so before he then does come in, that the violence that we see, what is the necessity of violence? And usually it is for intimidation. That when you're able to intimidate somebody and essentially put them down, then you have control. That let's look at this. We say, why do we have to keep people who don't have any conscience? It's actually a plan. That when you have people using violence as a political tool, it is for the end goal of control.
True.
So that you can control the situation and that you can be the one who will get the result that everybody is seeking. It is for control. The conscience or the feelings, all of those things actually do not come into play. That somebody is seeking a position where they will be able to control the narrative, and they will use any means necessary to do that. The question is, on which side will you be? If you choose those who use violence as a means to then be able to get control, you are just like them.
True. And you see, Another question, Ndu. You see, when you talk about election is an exercise that is backed by the law. It is a legal exercise. It is a legal process. And because it is a legal process, there are terms and conditions that must apply. Not should, that must apply. So when we look at the kind of bribery that we are seeing, because remember, IEBC has just told us that a presidential candidate who will be running across the country in all the constituencies, all the counties to get that 50+1 is the spending is pegged at 4 billion shillings.
Yep.
But when we see a by-election in a constituency spending billions of shillings in a by-election, one asks the question, why? Where is this money coming from? And we have other agencies that are supposed to look at the legal aspect of these by-election failing to do that. Why is this the case? And what does this mean in 2027 when Kenyans will be going to an election? Is it just an open playground for everybody to break the law because they want to get that which you stated, control, and want to get to power and rule the people? How do you rule the people if you have broken all the laws that do exist? Those who have bribed people in Kalou today, you want to get to parliament to legislate and pass laws, yet you broke the laws while you're getting in? How? How do we trust that you will do right, that you live by the law, you'll respect the law when you are in that office if you broke them while getting in? And do we as Kenyans also see that? Do we expect that people who broke the law are the ones who will come and uphold the law, even if they swore to protect and uphold that law?
Do you expect different? I mean, look, it's what you put in that you're going to get out. And I keep saying that the ingredients that you put into this thing, if we're looking at what are the ingredients for this Kalou by-election already so far? Bribery, violence, intimidation, all of those things. Those are the recipe. Those are the ingredients that you've put into this recipe. When you put it in the oven, as you will do on Thursday when you go to the by-election, what do you expect that you're going to get out of the thing? Regardless of the person that you then have chosen to be the winner. What you put in is what you're going to get out. And that if these are the indications that we're looking for into the next general election in 2027, then perhaps the people who have been making these proclamations over the last couple of days then do have a point.
True.
That it doesn't look very rosy ahead. He's senator in the Republic of Kenya representing the people of Murang'a, and that is Joe Nyutu. He joins us this morning. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Do. How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Sorry I came in late, but I left home very early. Up to there was an accident somewhere along Kalou in Dani. I've spent about 40 minutes there. But I thank God that I'm here now.
We're glad to have you here, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being. So let's just jump into it this morning because, you know, when we're looking into what's happening, it looks like it's high stakes. It's moral thumping. There's a lot going on. I just want to come from the point whereby, you know, Dennis raised the point this morning that what has been deployed now, it's interesting that in the last 2 weeks, what has been deployed into Kalou has been goodies, emoluments for the people. And there've been many. For the sleepy town, and that's what it really is. I actually went and I looked into Kalou inside and see where it is and what exactly it does look like. A sleepy little town, and the people have gotten stuff in what they have never experienced before. But it's interesting because as of yesterday, what was deployed now to Kalou is 1,000 policemen, GSU officers, water cannons, all sorts of security in
A sleepy town.
A small sleepy town again, in anticipation of the by-election that will happen tomorrow. It's a switch from what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Why do you reckon that is?
Thank you, Do, and good morning, Dennis, too.
Good morning.
What is happening in Kalou? And I'm met by the heading on the Standard, too little, too late, is that there has been a lot of bribery, a vote of bribery by government, and it has been recorded widely, of course, including giving speedboats in a dam, not a lake, in a dam that is not even completed. I mean, government of Kenya mattresses, many things, gas cylinders, and many things. IEBC has not done anything about that. The only thing we saw the chairman Ethicon doing last week was saying that the commission could be forced to cancel the by-election And we were, of course, left wondering why it didn't happen at all Malava, in Kasipul, in Bere, where violence was, widely reported. But come to your point, government, or UDA for that matter, have been, they know they are losing. And we think that the water cannons, the unprecedented number of police officers deployed to all Kalou, and all these things, we believe that government is planning to now not steal the election tomorrow, but rob the election.
Why do you say that, Senator?
I say that because, we have had by-elections before. I've not seen any water cannons and that kind, the kind of number, the number of police officers deployed. And so we are asking and requesting you, the media, both local and international, to be very vigilant and report everything that happens, because we suspect that government could actually, like they did in Gitifori polling station in Bere North, they could raid polling stations, kick out agents, and maybe bring in, other ballot boxes and, remove the ballot boxes that will have been used the whole day. And we suspect that is why there's this kind of deployment of the police and the water cannons and that kind of thing. And so we are asking you, the media, because you are the only people that can be able to monitor and report this, to be very vigilant tomorrow. Otherwise, we do not think that these police officers have been deployed to all Kalou with goodwill. The water cannons, why would you have water cannons? In a place that has not had any violence other than the violence perpetrated by the government itself. So I think it's important that we say, we ask even the international community to look at this, so that if Kenya is a democratic state and prides itself in carrying out free and fair nominations, then that should be displayed tomorrow. We want to believe that the people of all Kalou will be given an opportunity to elect their new member of parliament without any interference, especially by security forces. And, we are also talking about the 1,000 police officers that the IG talked about. I want to believe are the uniformed police officers. There are so many others that have been here, that have been there in plain clothes. And these are the officers, especially those in plain clothes, that we think will be used to cause mayhem in polling stations in all Kalou tomorrow.
Yep.
Yes.
We look at the process that is leading towards the election tomorrow, and it has been marred with violence, intimidation, bribery. And during this entire time, as much as people have complained and called on IEBC to act, we've seen IEBC give them credit, have fined individuals, 1.5 million people for interfering with the campaigns. But one asks the question, is it enough? Should IEBC have done more? And if the answer is not satisfactory, then how do you trust that it will deliver?
Thank you. Let me say that I do not want to say that we do not have faith in IEBC, but there are things that have happened, as you have observed, Dennis, that have put the credibility of IEBC into question. And to answer your question, it's not enough. Because look at the situation on the ground. It is not Gikaria who has been bribing voters. It's Gikaria only confessed how much he had spent. There are so many others from the government side that have been, distributing this cash. But most fundamentally for me would be, have you taken action against the UDA candidate whose agents, and in this particular case, the government, has been openly bribing voters. I saw Chairman Edekon lamenting about, deployment of cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries to all Kalou. He actually confessed that was wrong. It was against, or it is against the electoral, code code of conduct. What action has IEBC taken against the CSs who are there, the PSs who are there campaigning, in contravention of the law? What has IEBC done? What IEBC has done is to pick soft targets. Pick Mheshimiwa Gikaria, and show that you are doing something, and then fine him. If this is somebody who confessed to have spent about 2 million in one particular meeting, when you fine him, you say you fine him, is it 2.5 million? I mean, that's pocket change. I mean, we would have wanted to see IEBC take action against the real culprit, who is government. Through CSs, PSs, and that kind of thing. Otherwise, like the standard has observed, it's too little, too late. Even fining Honorable Gikaria 2.5 million. It's a joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it seems as though the elephants are fighting and the grass is suffering here. So the people of Kalou, before that, nobody paid them any mind, really. Yeah. It's interesting because they did have a member of parliament. That's why we're in this whole thing in the first place.
Yes.
But it seems that the very little was done in terms of ensuring or securitizing their livelihoods as is mandated by the Constitution of Kenya. And that now they're met with all of this. And I think that they sit in a corner sometimes and they wonder, okay, so what's going on here? It seems like it's a high stakes game, not for Kenyans, but for people who want to flex political muscle right now. How do we get away from that, Senator? Because it's almost embarrassing to see how people have behaved in the last couple of weeks over a by-election, which normally you would have a by-election and nobody would so much as sniffle because nobody realized. But this is very clear that the elephants are fighting and that the grass is going to suffer.
Yes, it's true, and it's embarrassing that, we are doing these things, baptizing them as, development, only when a member of parliament has passed on. It's very sad. We are Africans, and we would not want to be seen to be like taking advantage of death in any way. But I think the other thing that our people, I think we need to carry out massive, civic education amongst in the population, because people should ask themselves, for example, the members of parliament that have been deployed to Kalou, talking about even inspecting some now development projects and promising the people of Kalou that should they elect the UDA candidate, then this development will be brought even in a bigger, way and measure. But our people should ask themselves, especially where these members of parliament or National Assembly parliament come from. Have you been able, are the programs that you are inspecting and, flouting in Kalou, are they being done in your constituency? So that we put heat, we put them on heat at home. Because if you are in Kalou, for example, from a neighboring constituency, and you are there, launching development projects, even, accompanying the PS while, bringing in transformers, bringing in speedboats in a dam that is not complete. The people at home, your constituents, should put you on focus and ask you hard questions. These things you are promising in another constituency, you are launching in another constituency, you have not done them here. This is an embarrassment. So that any time there's a by-election, and I'm going there to campaign for the candidate of government, if I'm in government, then I should see to it that the things that I'm promising people there and giving them out there have been delivered at home. So that if it has not been done, then they call me out for what I am. And that is a hypocrite and, an opportunist who maybe wants to... what happens, Dennis, is that sometimes, people in government sometimes... when they collect about, say, 3 million to go and, do something for the people, including what we have, the infamous empowerment, programs, somebody will go there, spend 1 million and pocket 2 million. And that is where the motivation is coming from. That's why I'm saying the electorate should put their members, their representatives to task, because they are there to make money, not actually even to support the particular candidate.
Elections, especially the by-election in Kalou, is because the members, the citizens of the constituency, rightfully so, deserve to be represented in Parliament.
Yes.
Because now they don't have anyone to be there to speak on their behalf. Yes. They have not donated that responsibility to someone who will go speak for the people of all Kalou.
Yes.
Now, we look at how everyone is moving as if this is a life or death situation. The people of all Kalou are just saying we want to elect someone who will go to represent us in that house. Why is it seemingly a life and death situation for an exercise that is clear-cut as stipulated in the law? Why should people die? Why should people be intimidated? Why should there be massive bribery to the levels that we see today?
Thank you, Dennis. And I think that is tied to the question that you asked. Why is it a battle of titans between, giants? Because this war, actually, or this particular contest, is bigger than the contestants. But unfortunately, that is what by-elections have been, even in recent history. Government wants to show, and that is why you had Moses Kuria, boasting that they have invested 10 billion, not 1 billion, as we had claimed. It's because government wants to show that we are the ones calling the shots. They want to use their by-election to massage their ego and to assure people. And especially, what is happening in all Kalou in particular is that, President Ruto has lost the mountain. But he wants to show the other regions in Kenya or of Kenya that he has not lost the mountain. Because, Dennis, whether you like it or not, there is just no formula of winning the presidency in this country without the Mount Kenya vote.
So is the all Kalou by-election then a fight between President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua?
No. Rigathi Gachagua is not fighting. Rigathi Gachagua has just fronted a candidate.
Is it the other title?
Rigathi Gachagua does not need to prove anything. All Kalou is DCP. He does not need to prove anything. It's William Ruto who wants to prove something, that he has not lost the mountain, so that at least he can be able to garner some votes from out there, because everybody in Kenya knows that you lose the mountain or without the mountain, there is no formula of becoming president of Kenya. And to just encourage, and to help him, campaign out there, he needs to show that he still has, control of Mount Kenya, which he doesn't have. And that is why this has become a life and death matter. Otherwise, the deployment of resources, government, machinery and everything is unprecedented. Yeah.
So, Thursday, we go to the polls. That's tomorrow. The results of all of this will culminate in the voting, and then at the end of the day, you'll hear what it would be, what the result will be. Now, whether we like it or not, it's also showing the competition that rests between political heavyweights, between political parties, and more often than not, the people are forgotten. We can say here, Senator, we can pontificate and say, yes, the people must take control. But we also know that another political tool is keeping people poor, is keeping people uninformed, is keeping people uneducated, and then you can control them that way. So then I think it's a bit disingenuous of us to say then, well, the people then must hold their leaders accountable. How? This is the same leader who's coming to give you 2,000 shillings to eat on the day, essentially controls your stomach, is going to control your mind. How do we divorce ourselves from that? Because the leader that people are given, who they might vote for tomorrow, based on whatever the case may be, is who they're going to stay with for the next 1 year. How do we get away from this whole thing whereby we say that the people are responsible for who they bring into power, but whatever you're putting on the buffet has been already ordered in the kitchen?
The first thing that comes to my mind when you ask me that question is exactly what is the role of, for example, EACC. Because we should be able to question. I think one of the things that prove that somebody has engaged in corruption is, when you carry out a lifestyle audit on them. I mean, we should have, institutions that are empowered, that EACC will come in and ask, even the president himself, when he donates 2-3 million in a particular event, another one the same week, so that at the end of the week, you will find that things that are reported anyway, that he has contributed about 10 million Kenya shillings, that we should be able to come out, the EACC, for example, should be able to come out and question that kind of, donations and ask the president, put him to task. How many chicken have you been able to sell this week? Because he claims, he says that he's a poultry farmer. I mean, where do you get this kind of money? Where is this kind of money being spent in all Kalou coming from? EACC should be empowered to be able to, ask such questions.
What kind of power does the EACC need? This is their mandate. I mean, they already have the power. Or are we saying that what they don't have is the goodwill to actually say, look here, these are your people. It's the same EACC, by the way, who told us during the Bere North member of by-election last year that they had not received any information that one of the candidates perhaps had a corruption scandal to his name. Same EACC that we're now saying that they should pick up their mandate and their role. What more? Let me breathe.
Breathe.
What more do you need to do your job?
I think the problem we have, even with a very progressive constitution that was promulgated in 2010, is that we put the president in basically everything. That the president has a say as to who is elected or who is nominated to be chair of IEBC, EACC, Chief Justice, although you have the JSC, what we need to do if we want to have a serious country where the president does not interfere with other matters is to make, independent institutions truly independent and not just in paper. Because look at what happened to Cherera for example. After President Ruto took over, he influenced, even, the investigation into these particular commissioners. That if we can be able to maybe, I don't know what can be done, because we even can carry out a referendum and change the structure of our governance so that this thing that we have been told since we are in primary school, that we have 3 arms of government, that we have legislature, we have judiciary and executive, which are supposed to be independent of one another, that they really become independent. Why would the president, for example, be having the power, to appoint judges of the Court of Appeal? Supreme Court judges. Why should the president have any say whatsoever regarding who is nominated to be a commissioner at EACC, other commissions including IEBC, so that is the time we will be able to have an independent and a reasonable country. If you ask me, I can actually tell you that the other thing that we have a problem with, and this is something that I've said elsewhere, but I think is not precedented anywhere in the world. But in Kenya, we also could need what I can call a partyless state, so that then the legislature is not captured. Because what happens now, there is something called the party position with every party. So that even after elections, people campaign as Azimio, a grouping of parties as Azimio, but even before elected members are sworn in, then you find that some parties have already, the party leaders have already talked to the elected president, and they have a coalition. And the members have nothing else they can do other than follow the party position. So that we will never, in my view, ever have an elected member representing his people purely the people who elected him, because there is always that party position. But if we don't have any parties, any party, in my view, it's quite rather radical. But if we have a situation where you present yourself to the electorate without any party, where there is no requirement to belong to any party, you will be able to represent your people in a very exactly your people, because you have no reference to anybody or anything else. It is what your people tell you to say that you will say. You will not look back to see what your party is saying. I think we need fundamental changes even in our constitution.
In our political chess games, as we see today, as representatives, people who've been donated at the power to the people, is the problem the political parties in terms of the how they operate, their modus operandi, and how they want to represent the people? Or is the problem the individuals who've been voted in and forgetting their roles?
Now, there's also something that we call political reality. If, for example, for the sake of argument, if you are a member of parliament for, say, KSS,
Yes.
that's somewhere in Eldoret. If you go against UDA, whose party leader is William Ruto, the president, 99% chance is that you not be re-elected. So that is what makes elected members slaves in quotes of the party that sponsors them to parliament. So I don't think it is. It is something very, like I've said, that would need to be looked at very radically. But you cannot be able to extricate yourself from the party and the party position. There is always a party position. If you don't toe the line by following the party position, then of course you are named a rebel. You will first of all be de-whipped from all the committees, in several committees in the House. You'll be labeled as a traitor. You'll be labeled as an enemy, and the chances of you being re-elected will be.
Do political
minimal.
parties ever pause to look at the Monanchi position? We will have the political parties position, but there is the Monanchi position as well on what Monanchi expect to be done and want to be done once individuals get into that office. Say, as an example, cost of living is high. Monanchi position is we want cost of living to reduce because these are our concerns. Does that ever feature? And if that has not featured before, then one asks the question, with the new entrants into the game, what are the guaranteed assurances that Monanchi position will matter?
Well, some parties do. The party that I belong to currently, DCP, does so. The issues that my party leader will talk about are always issues to do with Wananchi. You'll not hear him talking about himself. It's always about, violation of human rights, cost of living, issues to do with Wananchi. So sometimes parties do. And that's what I'm telling you, that is what DCP is doing. But most parties will talk about this particular, and let me not name them, but we have seen parties purporting to be agitating for the rights of Wananchi as it should be. But when the party leader now sits with the president, then it is forgotten. The rights of Wananchi, the cost of living, and we had riots. We had very many, should I call them riots against cost of living earlier in the regime of President Ruto. If you ask yourself, the people who are leading those demos, when they sat down with government today, they will talk about the good things that the government is doing. I sometimes challenge them. What happened? Did the cost of living now go down? What happened? You also for years because you wanted the cost of living to go down. But now you're telling us that government is doing great and wonderful things. What happened? Where is the Monanchi So sometimes it's unfortunate that sometimes parties, use the grievances of wananchi to an extent. But when they are approached by government and they reach an agreement or an arrangement with the government, then wananchi is forgotten. And the next thing we hear are maybe leaders from such parties, praising government even better than those who originally belonged to government. So it's unfortunate.
Senator, how do I know? How does a Kenyan know when whatever you're selling on the day is not as a result of bad blood between the current administration and what may have happened between them and yourself in the past, and that it is really for the care of the people? How do I know that if Rigathi Gachagua is in Kalou, for example, or that Senator John Nyutu or Irungo Kangata are saying certain things, that it is actually for the betterment of the people and not as a result of a scuffle that you may have had previously?
First of all, if you are going to talk about my party leader, the scuffle was about the people. Why he was removed as deputy president is because, and he has said it so many times, is because he thought, when he got into an arrangement with the president, he thought it was about the people. And my party leader has put it very well. He has said, but when we got there, he started, we had agreed that, for example, we will never demolish people's structures without having an alternative, place where we could take them. But when we got in, he actually was asking me to lead, the demolition of structures without, as we had agreed, an alternative settlement site and compensation. It was about the rights of people. And you saw my party leader, before he was impeached, you saw him condemning, the use of violence, the killing of Gen Zs in June 25th of 2024 and the days that followed. So it was about the people. My party leader has always been about the people, and that's why they differed, because he realized that the person that they were to take care of the interests of the people with meant or was wired for something different, and that is where they differed. So my party leader is not talking about people issues because he was impeached. He was impeached because of the party or people issues, and that is the difference between my party leader and other maybe party leaders.
Senator, one would hope that from a position where you sit as a senator, together with other members of parliament, that these are issues that will be presented before the floor of the House. For case in example, like today, IEBC is being accused of not playing by the rules. Parliament, both Senate and National Assembly, are able to summon IEBC and ask these questions. If it's police, IG can be summoned to respond to these queries. With the members who are aligned to DCP and other friends as well who sit on the floor of the House, are we seeing that these are things that will be followed through? Because we will sit here and complain, but with a body that has all the powers to oversight and to ask relevant questions, because you are the ones as well who pass these budgets. Are we looking at follow-up of these problems that we are seeking to ensure that moving forward, things are done as per the law?
That's a very good question, Dennis, because it's true that both houses are charged with the responsibility and they have the authority and power to oversee government, both national and counties. But I want to tell you something. If I wanted to have the IBC summoned by any committee of the House, I would have to raise a statement, for example. Or, even a member of public is entitled to bring a petition against anything. But there's something which is a catch here. Before I present and read my statement in the Senate, it has to be approved by the Speaker. So if the Speaker does not approve it, it will not see the light of day. And that brings me to another problem that we have. And I think the Standard Group reported about it the other day, having partisan speakers of the House is a very dangerous thing. So that if my speaker is, of course, supporting government and President Ruto openly, because both speakers are, if there is something stinging to the government that I want to bring to the House in form of a statement, a petition, or even a motion, the speaker will not approve it, and there is nothing I can do about that. Yes.
Are you saying that Parliament is powerless to the extent that the leadership of the House is stopping Parliament from doing its role?
Yes, as long as the speakers are not impartial, then Parliament is the toothless bulldog. Because a member will not bring anything to the floor of the House without the approval of the speaker. I'll draw a statement, take it to the clerk of the House, but it has to be approved by the speaker before it goes to the floor of the House. It is actually the speaker that will call me to read my statement. And there is nothing I can do if he doesn't call me. I mean, it can even be on the order paper, for example, and he fails to call me and if he doesn't give you an opportunity to go through it, there's nothing I can do. And if I rise, I will quote Standing Order number 1, which says that the speaker can make a determination in case there is no standing order that gives clear direction about it.
If Parliament is so dissatisfied with the leadership of the House, can members of Parliament sanction the speakers and even ask for the impeachment? And if that's the case, if that's the power that Parliament has, why haven't you seen any move, even if it's a statement, even if it's a motion being pushed?
Sometimes it's
I'm just talking about the powers that
yes.
has.
Sometimes, do you know even that motion will have to be approved by the speaker or the deputy speaker, for example? That is, we go back to what I told you about, parties. How is a speaker elected, for example? I can tell you because I participated in the election of the Speaker of the Senate. I mean, when we were elected, you were called to State House, a parliamentary group meeting. And the president, as the party leader, told us that I want you to elect Amason Kingi as Speaker. That is the person that I've decided will be Speaker. And that is what became of the election. The same members of the National Assembly, they were told it's Moses Wetangula. And that is why now the speakers have to be partisan. So what I'm saying is, we cannot be able to remove the speaker of either house because of the numbers, because of the influence of the president. I mean, it's sometimes quite frustrating. So I think we need to look at the structure of our constitution and see whether we can be able to remove the president completely. From influencing the House. Because look at this, President Ruto is the head of the executive, but he's also party leader of UDA. I mean, he has gotten into an arrangement with the other parties, so many UDM, ODM, so many Ford Kenya, so many ANC or Musalia Mudavadi. I mean, and so he has control of them. So yes, he's in the executive, and ideally he should not have any control over the legislature, but he's a party leader of a party. He has members of parliament paying allegiance to him. It's quite frustrating.
The question that we've asked over time is that whether what we see that will happen tomorrow is an indicator of what is going to happen in 2027. And that comes with the full package, whether it's high octane politics that we see right now, probably going on a few octaves more, or that whether we see the violence that has already started is indicative of what will happen in 2027, or whether we're just going to have this back and forth where unfortunately the people are forgotten except when they're being used as a political pawn. Is this what's going to happen in 2027?
We are very much afraid that this could be cascaded to 2027, but we pray that it will not be done that way. Our only hope is that, in 2027 we will be carrying out a general election.
Yes.
So that you may not be able to deploy 1,000 officers in every constituency. That's the difference. They are saying they have deployed about 1,000 police officers. Those are the uniformed police officers. There are many others that will be in civilian clothes. That is not something that you can be able to do with the general election, because remember, we will be carrying out elections in 290 constituencies in 47 counties, and we will be doing 6 elections at the same time. And so it may not be replicated that way, but for violence in some areas, I know it will be sponsored. But then we'll also have a counter strategy. Even in all Kalou, we have counter strategies, which I cannot reveal here.
Hopefully they'll be peaceful. We have your governor on the line right now.
Yes.
We're just going to talk with Governor Irungo Kangata at this point to let us know how things are going so far. Governor, a very good morning to you.
I'm fine.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we know that also you had a little bit of a physical injury, but we're glad to know that you're doing better. What are your thoughts, especially coming around, the violence? Your senator this morning has spoken to a fearfulness of what is to come. Are you in the same thought process?
No, I have no doubt that God willing, that for Kalou will exercise their democratic rights tomorrow, and the right thing will happen. But definitely, what has been happening, not only in Kalou, but also in several places, has not been good at all. When you have political meetings being disrupted by goons, people being injured, people dying, we know of the deaths in Kisumu, in Keumbu, in Kisi, and several other places. That doesn't bode well for a country. No one is supposed to die for political causes. Life is the most precious and important thing we need to have, because once you die, you die. And it is so sad that we have lost lives which can be prevented. And therefore, for me, the government has questions to answer to this state of affairs.
If we can also ask you, Governor, that rallies continue, the political, temperature is still, quite at fever pitch, and that even beyond all Kalou, we're getting into it proper. If you were to predict, you've made a move, that's obvious as well. How would things look going into the future? With police already saying that they're doing investigations into what happened over the weekend, are you confident that going forward, that the rule of law then will be acknowledged and obeyed?
No, I'm not. The reason being that these attacks have been many, they have been systematic, they have been repetitive. No action has been taken. Remember, there was an attack against the former deputy president in Uzaya, Witima. We didn't hear any arrests. No one was taken to court. Then we had a previous attack, I think, in a church in Nairobi. Same case. We had several other attacks, and we rarely see people being taken to court or action being taken. And even if it happens once in a blue moon, that doesn't deter consequent attacks. And most importantly, the arrest seems to target the young people down there, but the planners, those who give them money, we rarely hear them being arrested. And we have no doubt it is politicians allied to the government who are behind some of these attacks. So therefore, we have a situation where chances are going into the future, this can only escalate, this can only get worse. But of course, before they finally get better.
We want to thank you, Governor, for being able to join us this morning, and you've been very gracious in terms of giving us information. Our hope is that you do get well and fully back on your feet, and that we can actually get to the bottom of this in terms of what happened. But asante sana for this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, and you've heard it. He's echoed some of your sentiments this morning, Senator. Thank you for being here this morning and for sharing this conversation with us. It'll be interesting to see what happens. That the hope is that everybody is safe and that the people's voice above all of this is heard and something is done about it. We continue to engage. Asante Sana, Senator.
Thank you.
Conversations continue. Good morning, folks. It's 9 a.m.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.